Beautiful beings, it's time for video blog number 7. So I titled this one, Beautiful Living is Learning to Surf the Waves of Life. So the way I'd sum that up is I'd say that on top of the ocean of love, which I think the reality of life is love, there are lots of waves. And while we can't stop them, we can learn to surf. And so let's get our wakeboards of bliss out and start paddling. So I heard this really great story, or I read it actually. So this is from the yoga journal that I read it, and so it's an old story that illustrates this wisdom and the state of mind that gets us there. A farmer's most valuable asset is the horse he owns. One day it runs away. All the townspeople commiserate with him. Oh, what terrible luck! You've fallen into poverty now with no way to pull the plow or move your goods. The farmer merely responds, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not. All I know is that my horse is gone. A few days later, the horse returns. And following it are 6 more horses, stallions and mares. The townspeople say, Oh, you've struck it rich! Now you have 7 horses to your name. Again, the farmer says, I don't know if it's fortunate or not. All I can say is that now I have 7 horses in my stable. A few days later, while the farmer's son is trying to break in one of the wild stallions, he's thrown from the horse and breaks his leg and shoulder. All the townspeople bemoan his fate. Oh, how terrible! Your son has been badly injured. He'll not be able to help you at the harvest. What a misfortune! The farmer responds, I don't know if it's a misfortune or not. What I do know is that my son has been injured. Less than a week later, the army sweeps through town, conscripting all the young men to fight in a war, all except for the farmer's son, who cannot fight because of his injury. The thing is, the power of that story is that most of what life throws at us is totally beyond our control, yet I think it's really easy and natural to get stressed about it and worry about it and try and manage it and try and control it. And I think that there's power, it's a balance, right? There's power in taking life as it is, taking the meal that's handed to you, if you will, and then eating it, engaging it, changing it in a sense, in the way that you can. So I get the meal that's handed to me, I can add some seasoning, I can choose to eat some of it and not eat other parts of it. Life is the same way. We're handed much of what goes on in our lives, like parts of our health, and especially the way other people engage us and think of us and how they approach us. What we can do is choose how our attitude that we take towards what we're handed and how we respond to it. So when somebody approaches me with meanness or nastiness, I can choose to get angry and pissed, or I can choose to be kind and understanding and loving and ask questions and be curious. So, or when tragedy happens, like in my home, or like to somebody in my family gets hurt or sick or is in the hospital or even dies or whatever, I don't get to choose that, but I get to choose how I respond to it, the way I engage it. Do I engage it with fear, with anxiety, with worry, with stress, or do I engage it with love and understanding, compassion? So which way do I surf? Do I surf kind of as like a sucky surfer, right, who falls off over and over and over again? Or do I surf on the waves of life and ride them and, in a sense, go with the flow? But we actually, I think going with the flow allows us to change the flow just slightly, like to alter it a bit. And so I think that really what it boils down to is engaging life as it's handed to you, as opposed to wanting it to be different than it is what it is to surf the waves of life. And so I hope that those few thoughts were helpful to you and that you have a beautiful day, and much love to you. Namaste.